I work out.
Look at that! Look at Brian go on that video. That's like
Lee,
my
I don't know
favorite
if
clip
they
ever.
mentioned this to you before in chat, but Selena Kyle 2022 was asking, what is on your paintbrush? What's the media?
Gouache. So I'm using gouache. I'm testing new paper.
Jonas, dance, right? Dance.
But yeah, I bought these. I went to the store the other day, and I was buying like various colors of toned paper from Strathmore that I'm used to using. And then I found these, and it was all like, I see on here that it takes drawing, pastel, acrylics, gouache, ink, and charcoal. And I'm like, oh, gouache, drawing, inks, that's everything. So that's pretty much my stuff. So I bought these. So this is like tan and then a bluish, kind of grayish blue one. Toned desert brown, toned mystic blue. And then this one is, what is this toned? Toned sanguine red. So, which I then sawed in half. So, because, and also, by the way, this is a weird size. I thought they were 9x12s because I wasn't paying attention. They're A4, which is a mutant size from Europe, which I'm actually okay with. But here's the unfinished Hellboy I was doing with eyes. Woo, creepy looking. But so I haven't quite finished him yet. But yeah, so that's the big pad of paper. But I was playing with it just because I'd never played with this before. But it's basically just really high quality construction paper. It's not falling apart with the gouache, but it is curling an awful lot. So I'm probably going to do the rest of my stuff that I was going to do. I'll finish up this one as well. Because again, I was thinking of giving this one to Ron Perlman, or letting him pick if he wanted that one or that one, and then I would get him to sign the others for me and give them to DCD Collects so that they can use them. I'll keep one for myself, but also I've got some other stuff I'm gonna have him sign. But I'll give them to DCD Collects for a break or something, because I figure that would be kind of cool. Have a nice little Ron Perlman portrait in one of their breaks.
Oh yeah.
So. Or a Hellboy portrait. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But yeah. So this paper is it's holding up, which is good. But it's fairly craptacular compared to as far as its resistance to this paper. So this is what I normally use, the toned mixed media paper. So keep in mind, this is also great for wet and dry media. And the sheet, like that's one sheet. It is thick as hell. Like, here you go. Let me hold one corner of this piece of paper. I'm holding a corner of the piece of paper.
That's pretty thick.
And it's not flopping almost at all. Whereas this one, I'm holding the corner of the piece of paper and it just goes bleh.
Yeah. I won't lie. When you flipped it over to show the back, my first thought went through my head. It looks like construction paper.
Yeah, it's like it's not bleeding through. So it's very good construction paper, but it feels like construction paper. And so I was kind of hoping it would be the same quality as the Strathmore stuff. It's not. It's holding up to the moisture. It's curling, but it's not falling apart. So, it gains a point, loses a point. If it had stayed flat, I'd be super happy with it, and I would be able to adjust to the textures and the moisture, kind of like the sizing of the paper, much better if it would stop rolling up on me. So I am half tempted to just grab one of those blocks and tape this to it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when stuff like this happens with the paper curling, is there anything you can do to flatten it?
Yeah, you put it on a block and tape it down.
Okay.
Tape it like that.
I don't know that this would necessarily work with this, but I used to have a paper route, and I'm Asian, so neatness counts. And so my mother would have us iron the newspapers that were wrinkly. So if you do it with like dry iron on high heat, you can take the wrinkles right out of most paper.
I was wondering where this story was going.
Well,
and also that person, if you're quick enough, they get a very nice warm newspaper, which is actually really awesome.
A nice warm newspaper.
Fresh out of the toaster.
I think
Right.
they're it's like couldn't you like get like one of those pizza bags? It's like iron the
Pizza
newspapers
bag.
and then throw the newspapers in the pizza bags. That way they would stay warm.
Or I would throw the pizza on their porch step and hand deliver the newspaper.
And
I think
it's
if
nice and
newspapers
toasty.
ever make a comeback, you're on to something here.
We need to deliver them warm and toasted.
Oh, and by the way, your pizza's in the driveway.
Newspaper toasted or non-toasted?
Selena Kyle asks, is it true that it's best to soak paper first with water when preparing to work with watercolor?
I've never done it. Again, I don't usually have this problem because I use good paper. This is the first time I've used this paper, so I was trying to find out if it was good paper.
This paper, which is being rather unwieldy and is not red, by the way.
Yeah, well,
I know
it's
that's what it looks like on my
sanguine.
screen.
There you go. So there's what red looks like. So to give you an idea how off the paper is, but when I take this away, it for some reason it color adjusts,
Yes.
and it just looks like
Yeah.
it's on fire,
Right.
which is fine, but because it is Hellboy. But yeah, I mean, I've never soaked my paper. I usually use, believe it or not, I use Blick store brand watercolor blocks. Those things are insanely good. They are white paper though, so you have to like tone them yourself, which is easy to do with using wash, using acrylic wash, a heavily watered down acrylic wash. Is a great way to do that because you also add a little bit of water resistance to the paper, as well as causing some nice tone to it. Nerd of Many Faces, thank you very much. It's a $2
Thanks for the
adhesive
bits.
fee. Thank you. It's the
I was
tape.
200 away from a
What
new
is the
badge, so I'm
sizing
like,
on the
might as
paper?
well.
Yeah, well, he basically saw me using tape and was all like, that reminds me of work. But
Mandela was asking, what is the sizing on the paper, Lee?
what is the sizing?
Yeah.
Sizing is like, are you talking like the physical size or sizing?
Yeah.
Because there's two different terms.
This is what is the sizing on that paper, is what Mandela was asking. Literally, that's what he said.
It doesn't actually say what the sizing is, so I can't tell you specifically what the sizing is, but it's not as good. It doesn't have the same sizing as yeah. So this is 180 GSM paper, 20% recycled, but it's all 100% cotton, which is kind of cool. So I was hoping it'd be better, but because it is cotton. But as far as like what they're using for sizing, I don't know. I do actually have some Holbein size that I could actually put on this. For those who don't know, sizing is the sizing for watercolor paper is kind of like what's its absorbency rate and stuff. So it's a chemical that they put on it to allow it to actually absorb absorb without like all the granularity and stuff. So this seems like it's got really good sizing. I'll say that.
Mandela says, it seems like it's a resistant size.
Yeah, so it is. I will say it's a good water resistant size. So it's the type of sizing I like when I paint, because I paint and wash. So I don't necessarily want it to suck up the ink like it's a straw, or suck up the paint like it's on a straw. I actually like having having it just kind of sit on the paper and then dry. But again, I actually did this here with a nice wash, and it just went right in, and it's beautiful. So I think the sizing's very good. And again, the paper's not falling apart. The problem I'm having is the curling is driving me nuts.
Speaking of curling, Brennan.
Time to talk about Canadian athletic sports.
You're and Lee, now that we can go out and do things, and it's hot as hell. I understand that there is like a curling league or something like at the hockey rink or whatever up in like Carlsbad, and it's just hot enough that I think that might be a fun activity. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to pass, not because of a disinterest in curling. That's part of it. But it's
shots fired.
it's actually because I don't really care about people cleaning the ice so rock can smoothly slide. It's like, because all I can do is like, if I watch these guys clean the ice and I'm sitting there thinking, can I hire you to sweep my house?
No.
Like-
Just watching that thing curl, it's like that's really the curling for us. It's amazing.
But I'll be honest with you, Aaron.
It's a lot of things.
I'll be honest with you, Aaron, though. I started my month with only one project on my list to finish, and I'm currently at 27. So,
good.
Yeah, so it's, despite my joy of curling and watching people clean an ice rink, I do have a lot of stuff to do. So, and I'm still trying to finish all the commissions I want done by then. So,
I'm with Aaron that I think curling is cool.
it's damn entertaining to watch. But again, if I'm going to watch it in person, I'm going to get frustrated because I'm going to smack my kid and say, "See how they're doing it?"
Oh yeah, I want to watch it on TV or be doing it. I don't think I could watch it live.
Yeah.
No. No. I'm saying, Steve, since I got you put a toe in the water, I'm saying that we put together a team and we go do it. Instead of going to doing midnight bowl, we go do like midnight curling or something like
Only
that.
if I can get you
the
guys
place is like
drunk
open till like 10 o'clock.
I would love
interest
that.
in curling extends to watching highlights on ESPN when I'm flipping through the channels.
Yeah, but it's curling, so it's ESPN 12.
Well, this has been a good curling segment. Thanks everyone for joining.
We went from art to curling real fast. To household chores. But we were actually talking about Brian and I are going up to Stockton this weekend. So Brian will be assisting me. We're supposed to be sitting. I asked if we were sitting next to James O'Barr again because I love signing with him. He's a hoot. And I don't know who I'm signing next to. They said yes, but I think they're saying he's behind us.
Oh.
Which to me is kind of like, well, that's a bummer. It's kind of hard to talk to somebody behind
Geographically
you.
or like in time.
In Artist Alley, he's sitting.
Okay,
he's
good.
sitting in the aisle facing the other direction. I'm assuming.
I see.
Because they said, yeah, you're right next to him. He's behind you. And it's like, well, which is it? He's either next to me, which is left or right of me, or behind me, which is behind me. So, so yeah, I don't know. They didn't quite answer the question clear. So I'll find out when we get up there. But because he and I, last time we sat to each other, we actually had a nice discussion about a crow idea I had for a story. And so I was hoping to inquire if he would be interested in pursuing that once I wrap up another project I'm currently on. Because, that would be fun to do, a nice crow project. So, and this time I'm going to be smart, and I'm bringing my Crow Special Edition book, as well as the my Crow movie, collector's edition box set. And I've already, we've already been going through his original paintings. We're gonna have so much stuff to show you guys next week for the show and tell segment next Tuesday. And then also I was telling Steve about this. We're going to be adding a Friday stream.
Excellent.
Not this week, but next week. So we're probably going to be adding a Friday stream after Stockton Con.
Good.
And it'll probably go till 6, 7-ish in the evening. But we'll probably be habitually rating DCD Collects, because that's actually the night that they stream, and they stream usually around 6 o'clock starting. But essentially kind of to cross-promote some of the projects I'm working on for them as well. So.
Excellent. No, I think that's a great idea.
So, but it'll be a
DCD
lot.
Collects. So I heard my name. Speak of the devil.
We were talking about the Friday streams. So I was warning people that after
You're
Stockton
going to cross the streams? What have they told you about crossing the streams?
they told me to do it as often as I can.
Oh, all right.
Hey,
So-
Doug.
And if someone asks if you're a god,
You say yes.
Yes.
So I've got a full house in here. So we need to get Doug in chat too.
Mandala instantaneous protonic reversal. Okay, everybody, it's everybody here in chat. Try and work instantaneous protonic reversal into conversation today as well. as well as time dilation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't
probably put out-
instantaneous platonic reversal cause time dilation? Haha, I win.
Again, I think you could work it into the same conversation.
I just
the same
did.
sentence.
I won.
I actually have to look up what photonic means. I've never heard that word.
No.
before.
Not
protonic,
instantaneous
not
platonic
plutonic.
Reversal. That's when a friendship gets real.
Platonic reversal is when you get lucky. That's known as third base.
Yeah. And Madonna says, it's too late to go back in time to change it. Or is it?
Depending on which physics you subscribe to.
Madonna,
big
I
enough
remember
engine.
talking about this with some friends in college, and it was late, and we were done with finals, but we were talking, Star Trek was on, obviously, and we figured it's like, whatever you've done in college is probably not that bad unless someone goes back in time to fix it.
Oh, actually, really fast, while they're here in chat and their chat's up there, everybody, DCD collects. If you're into stuff like we showed the dragons earlier, this is the stuff I'm doing for them, and that they actually have the products that those will be appearing in. So make sure you follow them, because the stuff they do usually has, like, it goes on sale. They have a quantity of like 25 usually, and they sell out usually that night. So when they go live streaming, so they sell them while they're on stream. So make sure you guys are following them. The other thing that I really like about DCD Collects is they pay the artists very well. So the artists are treated with respect, and they love working with artists and stuff. So, but definitely give DCD a shout out if you guys would, and
Also,
ask them to follow them.
just watching their reels promoting their different projects and events on Instagram is amazing. If you're a fan of the Cal Worthington style of commercials and stuff like that, it's like right up there with it. I laugh hysterically every time that they have a promotion on Instagram.
Yeah, that's all Trevor's doing. Dude's a
no,
master.
Trevor, amazing.
My favorite is we'll be sitting there at an event or doing something, and we're trying to talk or we're trying to do something, and Trevor's got his face in his phone, like, not now, I'm video editing, And then suddenly these epic, things that he's just cutting and editing videos on his phone while we're doing stuff. It's just like, wow, that is amazing. DCD. It's Kyle Worthington and his dog Spot.
Many of us, just like our brains, are only using 3% of our phones. Trevor's there using at least a good 40, possibly 50%.
Yep.
See, to me, video editing on your phone is kind of like drawing on the computer with your mouse. You can do it, but if you can do it well, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he does it really well.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Sorry, Mandala. I just looked up because I saw all caps. It did exactly what it's supposed to do. It drew my attention.
Right.
I'm surprised none of you read it.
I did.
No,
I just saw it as you were saying that. I looked up. I'm looking up a chat to see if we missed anything.
Yeah, so we've got, we're going to be Stockton Con this weekend. Tuesday we'll be streaming, and we'll kind of do the recap, show everybody all the crap we acquired. I still have
thing Brian did this time.
We'll talk about the stupidity of Brian. But obviously the forthcoming stupidity. So nothing he's done now. It's going to be all the dumb shit he does at the show, which is usually we'll talk about whether or not some cosplayer does something stupid that almost gets my leg amputated. So that's always a fun discussion.
Hopefully not this time.
I haven't done anything like that in a long ass time.
Well, you've never put my life in danger, so you're okay. We're talking about, like, there is outside the hotel at where Stockton Con is, where they house all the guests.
Oh yeah, I remember this story.
There's like a 12-foot area of clearance to put stuff, and this idiot cosplayer blocked the 3-foot area of walking space rather than using the gigantic open area behind him. And so all the artists and everybody had to actually walk around him and kind of put ourselves in the street in traffic. And somebody came along and clipped me. because this idiot was where he was, and like I fractured my knee. And I felt really bad for the guy because it was his little kid who threw open the door and hit me as they were driving by. So I felt really bad for him because he's panicking because he heard the hit. He watched me go down, and my leg was not working at the time. I couldn't. My knee was just it popped back into place before I could move. Before I could move my leg was not aimed the right way. And then I got up and, I went and had a doctor look at it Monday, but also, I have excellent health care. So I told the guy, don't worry about it. It's not your fault, as I glared at the cosplayer who was blocking the walkway.
Right.
Cause again,
See, Mandala, we're going to turn Lee into, Ben Santini one of these days.
Sorry, I'm thinking Dominic Santini. It's like, you're going to give me Airwolf?
No. Mandala says, I can imagine Lee doing a Riggsian popping back of knee. Ugh.
Pretty much, that's what I did on the floor of the hotel. I had to snap my knee back into place.
Right.
It was loud. It was kind of gross because a girl actually was like, ah, when I did it. And then I got up and we went to the museum.
Yeah.
And I just, throughout the night, I kept walking until I wasn't limping anymore.
Then he found out it was broken.
Yeah, then I found out it was fractured. So we're hoping we can spend this weekend without fracturing my knee. And it wasn't Brian's fault.
Shockingly enough. I think that should go for a record.
Yes, that was a major traumatic injury, or fairly traumatic injury. I don't say major, but, a fairly traumatic injury not caused by Brian. So...
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, so I have, but we have a whole boatload of stuff. Like I'm hoping to score I want to get an original James O'Barr painting. So he says he's bringing original art, but he wasn't very specific as to what he's bringing. And so I wasn't able to reserve a piece in advance. So I'm going to try and make sure I see him first thing, and then the next person I see will be I'll hunt down will be Ron Perlman to try and get the artwork signed and whatnot. So that's why the bottoms are left kind of blank, by the way, is kind of hoping they can sign along the bottom there. But yeah, that's going to be our weekend. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully we don't again die horribly.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Exactly.
Like in all things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, now that we got Brian here and Steven, have either of you two seen Prey on Hulu?
I have not seen it yet, but I have heard very good things.
Yeah, that's the same. I do not have Hulu, but I've heard good things. And then, there was, they showed it at Comic-Con, and, I'm kicking myself because I was planning on going to it, and I thought it was one night, and it was actually the other, and I was like, oh, okay. Hell.
Yeah, it's always kind of interesting when they do that. So, this makes sense that it's a streaming show that they showed at Comic-Con.
That's what we're getting at. It's like I've been looking around while the stream has been going, and I can't find anything that explains why Hulu.
Yeah, well, because it's a Fox production, so Fox is the major, Fox Disney are the major owners of Hulu, and Disney's not going to put Predator on Disney Plus. The closest mature content they get is anything MCU related, like Daredevil. Granted, it's what's up?
Disney Plus did just put Deadpool and Deadpool 2 on their service.
Yes, they did.
They did, actually. So yeah, I was going to say that's technically MCU related, though.
Yeah.
They've already announced that Deadpool's in the MCU.
Not as of those movies, I would say.
It's that fourth wall breaking version of Deadpool is actually in the MCU, and the X-Men are as well, but they are a separate universe.
Yeah, to try to separate that and not make it a part, and then still make it a part, it would just be too complicated.
Yeah, so to make it really weird, at some point there'll be some kind of stupid comedic way to jump dimensions, and Deadpool will do it. So keep in mind, he does have a time dilation device, And
We could
and he can
point
jump through
for
time.
me.
2 points, bitch.
I think we need to make. I think we need to make the qualification that he will do that in an official movie. Because I have a feeling Ryan Reynolds would get the costume and make that on his own in his backyard, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, just to explain why it happened.
Exactly.
Jonas was saying that Prey is on Disney Plus here, so depending, I guess, on your service.
Yeah. Well, also because remember, Disney Plus here in the States is like super conservative.
Right.
I'm really shocked that they put Deadpool on because it was on Hulu.
Yeah.
So the fact that they moved it over kind of tells me maybe they're, loosening the grip a bit. So that's kind of cool.
Possibly.
You say that
Is
with
Cloak
such...
and Dagger still on Hulu and The Runaways?
Runaways, I believe. I've never seen Cloak and Dagger.
Okay.
So I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I
was a
actually
real big
forgot
fan
it
of the comic
existed.
book, and no, it's like, oh, this is a TV show. It's like, oh, it's on Hulu. It's like, oh, okay, I'll see it later, and then it went away. But
Yeah,
again, since Disney owns all of Hulu, owns all of Marvel, it's like, well, maybe they'll slide it over to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought about, I've only thought about Cloak and Dagger twice. When they announced it, I was like, well, that sounds like it might be cool. And just now. So, can't answer that for you.
Right.
I wish I could.
Right.
My length of Cloak and Dagger knowledge is basically when they made an appearance, I think during the Maximum Carnage storyline.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's like, oh my God, is that pre-image?
No, it was
Or-
post-image.
It would've been-
Carnage was after.
Yeah, okay, so it would have been, but like Eric Larson. Eric Larson wasn't part. Was he part? He wasn't part of the original 7, was he?
The original 7 Image people?
Yeah,
I don't. He did Savage Dragon, right?
yeah.
He did.
Yeah, so I think he was.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Because Eric Larson took over Spider-Man after Todd left.
Exactly.
So probably not, right? Because right after Todd finished Spider-Man, that's when Image happened.
So wait,
If
let's
I
go
know
through.
my-
So there were 7. So it was Jim Lee.
I'm looking at Wikipedia, and the founders are Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Will Pardaccio, Mark Silvestri, and Jim Valentino.
So what we can assume is that Eric Larson had all his books in the can before leaving Marvel.
Right.
Which makes perfect sense to me because if you know anything about Eric Larson, that dude is he's just a workhorse.
If you ever want to see kind of like an MC Escher sketch in real life, watch Eric Larson draw.
Oh, the weird thing he does with his hand and his arm are fully hooked
Yeah, no,
around.
I do it too.
draws like
It's
this.
the left-handed hook, and it's just a weird thing that your brain will do. Unless you're told to do it otherwise, and obviously no one did, or Eric Larson didn't care. But it's basically being able to draw left hand, but you hook yourself around, so you're actually drawing from the right. And another reason why I hated drawing, or writing in pencil. My notebooks at the time were just smears of pencils because my hand would go over. But yeah, at the same time I like watching it. So thank God one of us became really great, left-handed comic book artist.
I know that.
Mandela says, I remember back in the day where it was a Todd McFarlane bio that said, favorite thing to draw, favorite thing to do, draw like Eric Larson.
I know this is probably like sacrilege to say, but Eric Larson's Spider-Man is more iconic to me personally than Todd's is.
I don't think it's sacrilegious at all.
I think that's a perfectly fine. I applaud you for saying it because it's his Spider-Man is great.
His Spider-Man was when I really started collecting.
Yeah.
His Spider-Man 18, which was like the Revenge of the Sinister Six, and it had like Spider-Man and Ghost Rider on the cover. That was. So I was trying to figure out like what was the first comic that I bought, and I did a little digging. There's 2 covers that are burned into my memory as of being like the first comics that I bought. One of them was Spider-Man 18. The other one was Marvel Holiday Special 1991. And so through very quick internet research, I found out that the Marvel Holiday Special came out in December of 91 and Spider-Man 18 came out in January of 92. So I'm leaning towards that the Holiday Special is probably the first one I bought, and then Spider-Man 18.
So what's funny is my very first comic that I actually bought was X-Men 275.
Oh, yeah.
It was when X-Men #1 came out. And the reason I remember that is, A, X-Men #1 just took up the entire freaking new This Week wall.
Yeah.
But it was because when I went in to go, because one of my friends told me I drew like Jim Lee. Newsflash, I don't. But
still nice praise.
yeah, so I went to go figure out who this Jim Lee guy is, and they're like, just go to a comic book store and ask for a Jim Lee book. And so I went in there.
Wasn't this also the friend that you almost punched too?
No, I did punch him. It was no almost about it. I actually, well, at least the friend who said you draw like Jim Lee, I punched. The gentleman sitting next to me who leaned over and said that was a compliment, I did not punch. I then profusely apologized to the other guy and said, explain this Jim Lee thing to me. And and there was I had a lot of anger management issues in high school. One of them was the fact that I had just pretty much spent, the last 3 months defending a painting I did in school. And this one guy got pissed because I'd basically done 2 projects my sophomore year of high school. One's called magnification, where you do a zoom in of something, anything you want, black and white. And I did the picture of somebody threading a needle, but it was through the point of view of the needle looking toward their eye. So you could see their eyeball and the needle and the thread going through it, and you could see their hand and their fingernails, and you could see like the cuticles, and I drew like every thread of the woven, of the thread going through the needle, and then the reflection of it in the eye. And this was the very first art project I did. And the teacher was just all like, okay, the next project is called Intersections. And what it was is you got to choose a warm color and a cool color, and also black and white. And now you had to paint something where they intersected. And everybody else was painting, like when they did the magnification thing, everybody painted like a bug up close or a flower up close. And then I did that whole needle threading the eye with the reflection in the eye and, tears because the person was stabbing themselves. Because, if you've ever had to thread a needle, it sucks.
It does.
But, and then the next project was that Intersections project. Mine was glass spheres traveling through a tunnel that essentially was a magenta and it was a magenta and aquamarine spiral tunnel. And there was a lightning bolt shooting out of the back of the tunnel going through, and it was shattering a couple of the balls. So I had this whole thing where the spheres, the glass spheres were exploding. And so I had the fragment and the movement and, the just kind of this real trippy acid trip of a thing going on. Keep in mind, I don't do acid. And immediately after I did that project, the teacher basically put me in the supply room and said, that is your art kit. There is your art table. I expect 5 sketches every week and a finished painting. Have fun. And literally the next 3 years of my high school was nothing but me going into the supply room and coming out with finished paintings every couple of days. And I had no supervision, no curriculum, no nothing. Do whatever the hell you want was my art instruction from that teacher. And one of the other kids was pissed at me about that. So when I did a picture of a dragon, actually I can grab the book. I did a picture of a dragon, a stone dragon, and a female elf standing on a cliff overlooking a valley. He basically accused me of plagiarizing. I know it's in this book somewhere. This is the first book. This is, of course, we filmed this before. This is the book that made me want to be an artist. But so I drew my version of this painting, and some guy basically accused that one there. So keep in mind, mine was an 18 by 24 piece, so it was narrow and wide. I had a waterfall. There was a girl standing here who was, she was like leaning on a longbow. And she was just kind of like looking over the valley. And then over here, I had a giant stone dragon. Totally different stone dragon than this. And there was also, you could see where the rock quarry and stuff, rocks and stuff, because I was looking at like Mount Rushmore reference and stuff. So, but anyway, so it looked kind of Mount Rushmore-ish with this dragon over here and thing. And so the guy looked at my painting and said, "You plagiarized from Dragonlance." And so for months, I had this kid accusing me of plagiarizing and saying I wasn't as good of an artist as everybody thought I was, because I copied everybody else's stuff. And so I was getting really pissed at it. And, the teacher was finally like, "Look, there's a big difference between plagiarization and inspiration. And, if you didn't plagiarize anything, you're fine. Go back in the closet and draw." And so I did. And then I came out and this one guy, he's like, "You draw like Jim Lee." And I punched him because I was fed up with this "you've copied people" bullshit. So for months listening to them tell me, you drew like you copy everybody else. You're no good because you're just copying other artists. And then I found later that copying other artists is how you become a better artist. So, but anyways, long story short,
I used to copy Jim Davis and Bill Watterson when I was a kid.
Oh, see, Jim Davis doing my first actual paid art project was in 3rd grade. One of my mom's friends paid me to draw a Garfield picture. She found this wrapping paper she really liked, and there was a Garfield about 1/2 an inch tall on it. And she's like, "I really like this Garfield, but it's not big enough. Can you redraw this for me?" And so I had to draw it on 8.5 by 11 paper. And I think I made like $5, but but I was in 3rd grade, so 3rd, 4th grade. So it was like, yay.
Professional artist.
But I got paid.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Wow.
You got paid. That's right.
Well, actually, no, that wouldn't be my first, because the third would be I helped build a 32 Ford Coupe in 3rd grade, and people would pay me a quarter. So, that was my first good paying job, $5. But people would pay me a quarter to do like little pencil sketches of their cars at the car shows. I helped build a 32 Ford Coupe, we did a Deuce Coupe. We also did a 36 Ford, I believe, and a 57 Bel Air. So I helped build 3 cars when I was in 3rd grade. Mostly polishing chrome and doing basic stuff, but yeah, that's how I got the money to buy my art supplies, and then they would pay me a quarter to do just like quick doodles of their cars. In the style of what you saw in the Hot Rod magazines back then. So like oversized back tires, jacked up exhaust pipe. Almost all the images were at a 3/4 angle, either from the back or from part of the front. But anyways, the Jim Lee thing. So I remember buying X-Men 275 because when I went into the store, X-Men #1 was like $5, I think, or what? Like X-Men #1. I'm trying to remember how much X-Men, the fold-out cover, the one that had all
the cover price.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I could tell you. I have one sitting right here.
Of course you do.
Maddie has gone a little. Like I said, Maddie's gone a little crazy.
Oh, that's a great thing, though.
She actually bought a signed copy by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee and is it Scott Williams, his inker?
Yep.
Is that right? Scott. Yeah, I just got to find it in this stack.
Aaron used to work with them.
Oh, very cool.
Technically, so did I, but I was a ghost colorist, so nobody knew I was there.
You mentioned that because I was cleaning up some old files and I came across one of the.
I'm in the Wildstorm group.
The party invite for Jim's Arabian Nights holiday party. And it's like, oh my god.
All right, let me see. I'm going to crack this open. Let's see what the cover price is.
Oh, it's not slabbed?
No, it's not. So in a situation like this where it's not slabbed but it's been signed, I know CGC won't authenticate the signatures.
Yeah.
Is it worth sending to CBCS because they will?
Yes. It's preferred if you can't get it authenticated by CGC, which is preferred.
Right.
Get it authenticated by CBCS because they will at least digitally authenticate the signatures as real.
Got it.
And at least it gives a little more validity to it.
$3.95.
Yeah, so there you go.
Was
So it was
cover price on this.
So it was a $4 comic back when books were, still at 75 cents. And
X-Men number 4 was $1.
yeah, but it was after X-Men that the price went up.
Oh,
After
right,
X-Men
yeah.
1.
I have an X-Men 75 sitting here as well.
Yeah, so there were a bunch of X-Men or a bunch of other books on the shelf that were all 75-cent cover price. And, and I'm sitting there, I've got very little money on me. And then I realized their back issue bin has this thing where it's like prices 35% off marked in back issues. So I was like, ooh. And so I was talking to one of the gentlemen there and, actually was going through and pulling out which book. And I said, which one do you think has the best art by Jim Lee? And he's like, hands down, $275. So that was why I ended up buying it. And then
it's a great cover.
It is. And then years later, I got to make a fantastic ass of myself. We were in Chicago, and I was sitting with Joel Adams, and Chris Claremont comes up and sits down next to us. And we start talking to Chris, and Joel and I were talking about, hey, we're going to go do this thing in a few minutes or in a little bit. And but while I'm sitting there talking to Chris, I mentioned that X-Men 275 was my very first comic book that I bought with my own money. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. To which I just kind of like flippantly reply, it's okay, I bought it for the art. And so I unintentionally insulted like one of my creative idols.
Well, I mean, to be fair, at the time period, a lot of people were buying these comics for the art.
Yeah. And but he doesn't need to be told that.
No, that's true.
And unfortunately, Joel then turns around and says, time for us to go. And so we left, and I realized, shit, I just told him I bought it for the art. And what I should have said was, I bought that one for the art, but I went back and bought every single back issue I could find that you worked on because the story was so awesome. And I love the writing so much. So, yeah. To this day, I've still been trying to corner Chris to apologize. I almost did at one point, and I wasn't able to. But I'm pretty sure when I apologize, he's going to look at me and say the same thing he said the first time, which is, who are you?
Yeah, this one also has the fold out. Got a 3-fold cover.
Yeah, the green. Yeah, there's the green X-Men cover has the full fold, or it has the full fold out, and then the I guess the purple color is all of them are just one cover that stacks and makes the full thing. So, and of course, Mandala I see asked, "What's the story with the Action Comics #1 at the con?" So yeah, I sold a $3,500 painting at Comic-Con. And while Maria was ringing it up, I was talking to the gentleman, and we were talking about things that we loved and stuff that was old school. And he bought the Robbie. He's not the one. He's the guy who bought the Robbie the Robot painting. And he kind of he's like, oh, you like really old stuff, and it's all like, oh yeah, I love studying kind of like where we come from, like what's the heritage behind all the cool stuff we do. And he's all like,
man.
What's up?
Easter Island. Yeah, I love
the there you go. And, I love studying things, pop culture and whatnot. And so, old stuff. And so that's why I did, Forbidden Planet. We're talking about Forbidden Planet and Them were my 2 favorite movies as a kid. Mm-hmm. And, they terrified the crap out of me, but they were just so wonderful. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I got something you might like. And he reaches into his backpack and pulls out like this thick black case, cracks it open, pulls out an Action Comic #1 and hands it to me. It is not slabbed. I can open it up. It's the real deal. And it's in better condition than almost any other Action Comics I've ever held. And it looked in better condition than the one that just sold for $3.7 million. So I'm sitting there like, wow, this is really cool. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is the real deal, man. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, why isn't it slabbed? And he's like, because I still read it.
Oh.
And I'm like, seriously?
That's
He's like,
awesome.
yeah, once every.
That is fucking bold.
He's like, every couple of years, we'll basically put we'll put down a sheet basically, and like a big sheet of cardboard or something like that. We'll break out gloves, and I'll sit there, and he's like, I'm a book archivist. So he has like all kinds of old books, and he knows how to handle books. And he'll sit there with gloved hands and gently read the comic. And there's something so magical and wonderful about it. I'm like, that's awesome. And but he did say that he was thinking about getting it slabbed. And then of course somebody in my Facebook page actually pointed out that they ran into the same guy, about gave the CGC guys a heart attack because he pulled out Action Comics #1, so the most expensive comic on Earth. And he had the only unslabbed copy people have seen in years. So, there's something like less than 30 known copies, I believe, in the world of that book.
It's a very casual flex.
It totally is.
The guy just pulls it out and just, the CGC guys, you're like, oh, there they go.
My casual flex that the only person here that's going to care about it is Lee, is just in that same folder of stuff that I found. I also have 3 film pages of Travis Chare's X-Men, Wildcats X-Men in this.
Oh shit!
Folder.
Really?
Yeah.
I will buy those off you. Because I
found them. They're mine.
No, I can scan those and use them as reference.
I know you could, and that's the reason why. And this is such a weird thing because Lee's seen it. It's like I have. Film, the actual film, this is because that's how it was shot back then, of like Adam Hughes when he did a Gen 13 story arc called Ordinary Heroes, and at the time, while film was valuable, it was also not valuable, and they start, because we were moving to digital, and film is heavy and hard to store and all this other stuff, and so they're throwing a lot of these things away. And I would just pick them up because they're literally in the trash, and it's like, oh, I like this art, so I'm going to keep it, and so it's not hand drawn, it's not the original work or anything, but it's film, and nobody else has this stuff out there, and I kept some of the weirdest things, again the Adam Hughes things, and now I notice it's like in the same folder I've got like 3 pages of film from Wildcats X-Men. That Travis Charest drew.
Yeah, if you're ever getting rid of that, or just put me
I have no reason to.
Yeah,
because if I've forgotten about it for the last 20 years, I'm probably pretty okay. I just need to put like a yellow sticky on this.
I'd warn yourself to start checking your brake lines and.
I was looking for. I actually have film from an independent book. I was going to show people what film looked like. But basically, it's just transparencies, and it's going to be the yellow, the red, the blue, and the black, and it's how they would it's the separation film that they would use to make the printing plates for the comics. So what's cool about it is, while nobody gave a shit about them, they are one of a kind. So the funny thing is like to most people they're worthless, like you were saying, but to someone like me. That's part of the process. Those are cool to have. And I love them because I can scan them in, especially the blacks, and you can actually get in. And sometimes they would actually shoot the blacks differently than they would shoot the colors. So, or separately. So the colors would be one thing, and then they would shoot the pen and ink separately.
Right.
So that you could actually, and then overlay it over the colors because the black would always be darker. So. So I always love that stuff because that's how I started out as an artist. Was I had to learn those processes.
So I'm looking at this, Lee, and I can see on this, it gives the date and the time that it was printed, and also all the lineup marks on it. And one I can tell it's also done for the foreign market because all the word bubbles are there, but they're blank because they need to fill it in later. But it's a QX it's a QX doc. So this was done with Quark Express.
Nice. That's old.
No, I'm looking at it and it says it's got a date 7/23/92 at 6:06 p.m., which means we were late.
I was still in school.
Because our official office hours, I think, was we closed at 5.
I was still in school.
Oh, I'm pretty sure people lived there for a time. In either they got kicked out of a place or they couldn't afford a place, or there did seem to be some people who were there like a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't mean I was at school at that hour. I mean on that date I was still in school.
yeah, no, exactly.
But that was actually just before my first Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
So, or was my first Comic-Con night? When was the first convention at the convention center? That would be my first Comic-Con. When it was just exhibit hall A, B, and C.
I'm not.
Was it 91 or 92?
Okay. One, I need to clean this piece of film. Couldn't have been 92 because I wasn't there in 92. It's 97. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was not in high school. I was in Okinawa, Japan.
7/23/97. Thank you.
Okay.
There's a little schwitz on it. Thank you. Sorry about that, folks.
No problem.
Still 606, but I was like, oh, that's dust.
But
that's my friend's birthday too. That's
but yeah, that was if you ever get rid of those, I would love to actually have them. So if you
I've got so many weird things in here, like an ad for Winona Earp, written by Bo Smith, Joyce with artwork by Joyce Chin and Mark Irwin.
Mark Irwin, I love Mark.
Yeah, this is before Winona Earp goes on to become an entertaining and fun TV show that was actually first produced by IDW.
So and it's I'm trying to figure, like I gotta figure out where he works because he bounces around so much. But Mark Irwin, I gotta see where he's at nowadays. He was like one of the big guys at IDW, and then he left to go to Inside Editions, and then he left Inside Editions to go back to IDW, and then he left that to do something else, and that's where I lost track of him. But every time we see each other at the convention, though, we get to hang out and have drinks or something. Which really, when I say we hang out and have drinks, like, Steve and I hung out and had drinks, which basically meant Steve had drinks, I had water or tea.
I actually drank water as well.
Yes! Maria had drinks. Maria drinks for me. That woman's got a liver that could drink for two. So, oddly enough, that's also how she found out she was pregnant.
All right.
She took a shot of tequila and immediately threw it up, and she's like, "That has never happened before."
I'm not pregnant.
She went and got checked the next day, and it was literally her body going, "Don't do that." So yeah,
we're drinking for two now.
Do a double.
Yeah, but that was literally how she found out she was like 2 weeks pregnant, 3 weeks pregnant. Was she went to have a drink, and I don't remember if she had anything to drink in those 2 weeks before, but if she did, that might explain our kid. So possibly, still love him.
Juan is a fine individual. I've talked to and interacted with a lot of people his age, about his age, and and it's like, oh yeah, no, mini me is fine. He's right there. In fact, he's probably smarter than these some of these jerks, because at least he keeps quiet about it.
Yeah. No, he's a good kid. I like him.
Yeah.
I just feel weird though, because I still get to give him shit though, because he's my kid. Like, you have to. I think somewhere there's a handbook. I misplaced it, but there's a handbook for parenting they give you when you get pregnant. And when you have a kid, anyways. And it's just right. This is how your life is screwed, and you must remind your child of it periodically. So I distinctly remember that in the handbook. I could be mistaken, but I'm probably not. I'm pretty sure that was also in the handbook.
I also have in here this note in this file.
Is destroyed after use.
And
Burn after reading.
A no prize to a person who can figure out who this is. But the notation is, Raleigh Vincent is a heartbreaker of the sort you won't find anywhere else in comics. Cool, beautiful, able to blow your thumb off at 30 paces, and yet somehow innocent.
Is this somebody we know personally?
No. It's a comic book character.
Oh, okay. Oh, Mandala.
Anybody know the comic book?
Could you repeat it?
Technically,
who's Raleigh Vincent?
Technically, manga.
Oh, okay, I'm out.
But also had a run as an anime. And the reason I watched it first, not because of the scantily clad girls, not because of the lots and lots of violence, or the stunning array of very accurately drawn weapons.
Mecha.
But because the lead character draw this fantastic Mustang Mach 1, white with blue racing stripe.
Revved?
No,
that was wrong. That was the Pontiac.
Most people probably.
Wait, what's the question?
So I just wrote this quote because for some reason I wrote this down, and it was a reviewer commenting on this comic book, and the quote is, "Raleigh Vincent is a heartbreaker of the sort you won't find anywhere else in comics. Cool, beautiful, able to blow your thumb off at 30 paces, and yet somehow innocent."
That does sound like something you'd write.
No, it's not me, but somebody else, some other editor, viewer wrote it.
See, I thought we were supposed to guess who wrote it, but who's it about? I don't know.
The comic is called Gunsmith Cats.
Oh, okay. I've seen the book, but I've never read it.
Mm-hmm. And it's an original manga, but it was also reproduced by Dark Horse in English.
That's probably where I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked when I really liked when they were doing all their manga stuff. They did their Rocket comics or whatever.
Yes.
Which was awesome, but it was also kind of depressing because I remember when Dave Wilkins got El Zombo Phantasmo printed, and they printed it under the anime type thing. He's like, it's not anime. It's about a Mexican wrestler who kills zombie wrestlers. Which, by the way, if you guys have never seen El Zombo Phantasmo, make sure you look it up.
El Zombo Phantasmo is good.
Look it up.
I give that a thumbs up too. I recommend El Zombo Phantasmo. Yeah.
They've been trying to make a cartoon out of it for years. So
yeah.
I don't know if it ever will, but I highly recommend checking it out. It's kind of in the same boat of production hell obscurity that Kittergoth got stuck in. So it's like it was really popular when it came out. Everybody loved it, but then it got, don't do anything with it because we're trying to make something out of it, and then it sits there for years, and you can't do anything with it because you're contractually bound. And then they're like, well, we don't want to make anything of it. Why? Because nobody's heard of it. Of course nobody's heard of it. You sat on it for 15 years. You won't let us do anything with it.
No one heard of the X-Men for the first 10 years. It was read by about 10,000 people, and then no one really cared that much about it till they were going to cancel it. Much like the Choco Taco.
Yeah, but the X-Men was in reprints for 3 years?
Yeah.
Or something stupid.
I'm pretty sure the Choco Taco has more fans than the original X-Men did.
Yeah. Well, the original X-Men.
Really? Do you think that the Choco Taco has more fans than the original X-Men?
My vote is yes. Also, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So keep in mind, fans actually prevented the Choco Taco from getting canceled. That didn't.
Right.
Neil Adams worked on the last actual X-Men book before it got canceled.
Right.
And it didn't save it from getting canceled. So yeah, we can phrase it that way. Neil Adams didn't help the Choco Taco, and it did just fine.
Again, I said this before, but the Choco Taco is superior engineering. It is a ice cream drumstick 2.0.
It is.
because the drumstick is a ice cream cone, right? But it's got like chocolate drizzled over it that hardens, and there's nuts on top, peanuts on top. So you have to eat it sequentially. First you eat the chocolate, bite into the chocolate, get some peanuts, and it's like, oh, it's crunchy, and then a little bit of vanilla ice cream, and then once you finish that, then you get the waffle cone, and then at the very end you get that little hardened dollop of chocolate, and that's done intentionally at the very bottom of the waffle cone, and a very enjoyable experience by all. Waffle cone, the waffle cone, the Choco Taco is all of that, but in every single bite because of the way it's layered, essentially sandwiched or tacoed in this sense. And I think that is a much more pleasant experience.
Full disclosure, Aaron got his PhD in Choco Taco analysis.
I'm just hoping that when they bring it back as the double-decker Choco Taco.
Oh, yeah. No, in fact, we should, there should be more or different Choco Tacos, because the Choco Taco has remained like relatively unchanged since its inception. There have been different types of drumsticks out there that you could buy. It's like, oh, this one's got caramel, or this one's got chocolate in the middle, or this one's got all these other things. But yeah, no, the Choco Taco has stayed the course.
They need to just do the Kit Kat model. Just go to Japan, see what flavors of Kit Kat there are, and make those as Choco Taco.
The green tea Choco Taco, the strawberry Choco Taco.
I bet they would be delicious. Because I will admit, the green tea, like the green tea or the matcha Kit Kats, like they look weird because they're green, but they taste really good.
Oh, they are delightful. Yeah. I think I bought some over at like Marukai. I think you can still buy them. They're not like in your normal. They're not the 7-Eleven, but they should be. But I think you can go to some of the specialty Asian supermarkets and they have it there. I'm almost positive I saw them over at Ranch 99 Market too, which I love going to, because going to the butcher section in the back is basically like going to an aquarium.
What's up, Steve? He's been trying to talk for like 30 seconds. What's up, Steve?
Illustrationer says, "Hi, hope you're doing well. I like what you're working on."
Hey, Illustrationer, thank you very much. Yeah, we got I'm trying to do some cool Hellboy Ron Perlman art, so trying. My first time using this paper, it was unruly, so we had to discipline it.
Oh, that's great.